2:03 p.m. for this Tuesday, February 17th edition of the Augusta Richmond County Commission meeting. Madam Chair, I call this meeting to order. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, I call this meeting to order.
Yes, sir. Thank you. At this point, we will have our invocation by Reverend Creedmoor, pastor of the Beulah Grove Baptist Church, after which we'd like to ask Commissioner Don Clark if he would please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you please stand?
Good afternoon to the mayor, to commissioners, and all who are present. We thank God for you today. Would you join me in prayer? Oh God, our help of ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal home. Today, Father God, I come before you offering prayer for our city and those who have been called to lead. I thank you that they were willing to take up in themselves the agency of being committed to those in this community who need strong leadership for such a time as this. Father God, I also know that strong leadership needs deep conviction, deep compelling, a will that is constantly determined and defined by your faithfulness to us. That in turn, Lord God, that faithfulness would then be the evidence of how they go forth in serving others. We know, Lord God, that you have called and developed and established leaders through their many trials, many struggles, and many challenges. May they not forget them, because the people they serve are going through their own and are depending on them for everything they do to make Augusta the city that they call home, a city that they value, cherish, and love everything it should be. And I pray, Lord God, for every conversation. I pray for every challenge. I pray for every thought that comes forth in this chamber, in this space and place. May it be according to the character. May it be according to the leadership. May it be according to that which is virtuous in each and every one of them. We, the people, deserve it. They were made for it. May it be evident in them through it. And Father God, we thank you because Augusta is an amazing city. We look and see the changes. We see the things that are taking place. We know the needs for more. But Lord, teach us the patience of the process. Teach us not just to take up politics, but to consider people from the least to the greatest and from the greatest to the least. Because we all want the best, not just for ourselves now, but for a future that we believe that you make possible through us. So I pray, Lord God, for these leaders today. I pray from the depths of my heart that you would be with them and bless them, guide them, and give them the understanding they need. And then I ask, Lord God, in the words of that great hymn, that you keep us all, lest our feet stray from the paths where we met thee, lest our hearts become drunk with the wine of the world and we forget thee. Keep us shadowed beneath your hand, that we may forever stand true to you, O God, and true to our native land. Bless the servants, bless the people. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reverend Creekmore, would you please stand, please? Thank you for sending up what the old church called timber on our behalf. Thank you. By these presents be it known that Reverend Xavier Creekmore, pastor of the Beulah Grove Baptist Church, is our chaplain of the day. May your spiritual guidance and spiritual leadership serve as an example to all citizens of Augusta, and your continued leadership, and strengthen you and bless you. Given under my hand this 7th day of February, 2026, Garnett L. Johnson, Mayor. Thank you.
Pastor Krickmer, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all that you do and continue to do for our community. And please tell the folks over at the Grove, the City of Augusta says hello, and we thank them for you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege. If everyone doesn't mind, we're going to have a brief moment of silence. As you know, we lost today a titan when it comes to civil rights, Jesse Jackson. He was very monumental in many of the freedoms that we enjoy. And if you would, just join me for a brief moment of silence for the Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson. Thank you. Thank you. Madam Clerk, I think that takes us to the delegation portion of this meeting.
Yes, sir. Our delegation A, RCSS trustee Samantha Valentine regarding the recognition of the National Parent Leadership Month.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. I've just been informed that Trustee Valentine is not going to be here today. We're going to reschedule that.
Okay.
All right.
Our next delegation, item B, Mr. Brian Green regarding planning and zoning concerns related to the Weed Street project.
Thank you. Mr. Green? Welcome, Mr. Green. If you will, for the record, please state your name and address, please.
Brian Green, 2429 Mount Auburn.
Thank you, sir. You have 5 minutes.
Mr. Mayor, Commission. Just here today, folks, is with some fundamental concerns about some projects, probably good projects they're looking to do on Weed Street and possibly at the Weed Street School. And the interesting thing about our group here is that these two ladies here today, we had discussed the issues and we actually disagree on some things about these projects. But the beauty about this, and this is my subtitle, The Beauty in Civil Disagreement. The ladies with me are thumbs down for the most part. Correct? Thumbs down. Me, I'm pretty much thumbs up with some considerations.
Mr. Green, when you say the ladies, who are the ladies?
Ms. Combs and Ms.
Okay.
Francis.
You'll
Right here.
stand up, the two ladies, all right? All right.
I'm Carolyn Combs Robinson,
Your address?
510 Delano Street.
All right, ma'am.
My name is Frances Safford. I live at 511 Weed Street. I've been there ever since 1973.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank y'all for being here. All right. Mr. Green, continue, please.
So anyway, as you can see, some long-term residents and just some fundamental concerns. Tried to reach out to the gentleman that did the presentation to no avail. Just had a few fundamental questions about the project and all. As we move, and it seems like this project is moving ahead full steam. And I want to ask this one question though too, because I know we said ASU students, is just so I won't forget, are we planning something for Payne College students as well? Are they going to be able to kind of share in this, like just say 10 to 15 of them with cars can come over here, or is it strictly for ASU? If there's nothing in there for Payne College, how about maybe we can plan a similar project for the Payne College students as well as they expand their educational and territories. I want to ask you all a question. Up here in this panel, all the decision makers here, 12 of you.
12?
12. 11 with you, 12 with Madam.
I got you. Madam Administrator.
Let me ask y'all this. I'm sure you love your neighborhoods, really enjoy your neighborhoods, your neighbors, right? I got a deal for you. I'm gonna bring 136 people in your neighborhood, right down the street, right around the corner. Should be okay, right? Got a deal. Now, you may say, I don't think so. This is just a rhetorical question right here, because sometimes people present something like, that's such a great idea over there. And I think I heard the gentleman mention that he's from Columbia County. I really look forward to people in Augusta, Georgia, making decisions in Augusta. No offense to the gentleman. In fact, his presentation was pretty, straightforward, what is that, a week or so ago. So I want to be clear about that. I'm not here from a confrontational standpoint, but I am here some fundamental things. Have we talked about the impact of this project? The Weed Street School is interesting because I heard maybe seniors or something like that. It's a structurally sound building. It's got a very nice design. What about a charter school for disabled students? K through 8, something like that. And that's also with the seniors up in there, maybe 25 or 30. I'm talking about the Weed Street School. As far as that other place, I want to ask this question, especially my commissioners. Have we put thought into, and the planning committee, have we put thought into this neighborhood? Very narrow streets. I drove by, there are no drainages, I noticed, on this side where the proposed project is. The drainage is on the other side. The impact on drainage, the impact on even internet service and the electrical grid in there. Biological impact. So I know some of that's engineering stuff. Has all that been addressed and has that been answered? So I'm not here today to be all so far against it, because we need to develop the community. And y'all heard me before. You already know I'm about my community. But I'm asked these questions. Have we planned about fixing the drug problem? There's a pretty healthy drug problem over there. Are we looking to put students in the midst of that? Weed Street is narrow, it's dark. Have we thought about that?
1 minute.
Yes, sir. Have we thought about that? The impact, and I know the gentleman said bicycles. Well, I attended ASU for a year. I'd like to go back and finish my business. I never saw a student on a bicycle for my year, ever. Not riding around or going to get caught, nothing. So the notion that you're gonna put 134, and with young people nowadays, that they're gonna be bicycling, I don't totally agree with that. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. Mr. Mayor, you said a minute, but it says 5:07.
Yeah, you're over.
Oh, okay. Those
But
are
I'll let you wrap up. If you got something else, you good? Because I got a few colleagues that's in the queue, so if there's anything additional you need to add.
threw me off with that, Mr. Mayor.
I say you had a minute left.
Right, and it was like at 4:37 when you said that.
Yeah, I gave you a little extra time.
Okay, well, I'll wrap it up. My main thing is environment impact, the traffic. We want the best for our students. Everybody loves students. I love students. We all love students. Students are great. But let's do something not just for ASU's benefit, but something that benefits the community. And one last thing. I've been Googling this and all that. It says when you're considering building a project, you should do that project that comes in a neighborhood and complements. Why would you put a 2-story there? You must not have room. So from a carpentry or building standpoint, if you don't have room horizontally, you got to go up. With a 2-story building really fit in that neighborhood, it would kind of consume the neighborhood. So could we scale that back? Is 136, if we don't get 136 students, is ASU gonna close or something? Or somebody gonna lose their job if we don't say 136? How come that number can't be much less, maybe 60? Because of the impact in the community. And I say this respectfully.
Thank you, Mr. Green. If you stand there, and we gave you a little extra time because the ladies behind you, we gave them an opportunity to introduce themselves, so that was the reason for the extra time. Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Wayne Guilfoyle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Green, are you speaking on behalf of what's on the agenda item for today?
Yes.
Well, I think I am, yes.
Okay.
I was told maybe that may be on there. Two different points I was talking about, the Weed Street and the
Right.
Weed School.
When it comes to private developers, you know, it would be nice if we could control what a private developer does, but as far as government, I don't want to interfere when it comes to private citizens, private investments. Fortunately, we do have departments that oversees. We have the zoning that's either go yay or nay on things that's being approved. But what's being presented before us today under agenda item number 3 is just changing the zoning. A request for concurrence with Augusta Planning to approve a petition from Irvington LLC to request a zoning from R1B, one family residential, to and R1C family to a multifamily residential. That's the only thing that's coming before us. But also underneath the recommendations from staff, on the bottom part of the paragraph, first page, approval of this rezoning does not constitute approval of the conceptual site plan submitted with the rezoning application. The proposed development shall obtain site plan approval in compliance with the site plan regulations of Augusta, Georgia, prior to construction commencing in this property. So the only thing that's on the agenda today is just approving to where this weed school's been in the forefront for the past year. If they back away, that becomes a little rat-infested building. That's where the homeless is going to seek shelter. I'd rather see something developed than not developed in the area. I can't dictate what a developer's going to build there. They have to make it to where it's affordable. No different than the housing projects that we see. They want smaller lots for one reason, that they could put more houses in this plan, their acreage, whatever they have, to where it's profitable and keep the numbers down. And I can imagine, I appreciate that somebody's willing to look out for students. It might not be close to Payne, but if this weed was close to Payne, that's who they would be attracting. But as far as drugs that we worried about, if that building stays empty, that's going to be a bigger headache on our sheriff's department, trying to deal with the drugs, the homeless, and people taking shelter in that building. So there's two sides to this. The only thing that we passing today is just have it rezoned to where they can move forward, and it's going to come before planning and zoning, and that's where the people will have a say-so. The citizens will have a voice in the planning and zoning. So if there's any modifications, alterations, or compromise, that's where it would be done.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
And please excuse my timing on this. And as usual, Mr. Guilfoyle, you're very articulate, and I know that you take time to study these issues and whatnot. I do respect, where you're coming from. I'm coming from a standpoint, though, at the end of the day, there is a process underway for development. There is a process, and I'm speaking to the process. Whether you all vote on it today, as of today, those cars are still going to be flying down to Mount Auburn, the drug traffickers, and I'm just speaking from a standpoint, planting a bug, if you will. Before, as we march forward on this project, are we going to do those things?
Right.
You don't have to vote on it today. I'm just simply planting a bug that can we consider getting those things, some of those overgrown lots that are jungles, before we start even discussing putting students there.
You got to have something to initiate the other residents to take the drive to clean up their lots. This might be the catalyst for that to happen. As far as the people flying up and down the road, Dr. Malik, if we could look at this road as putting speed humps in, that would reduce that. So that's one of the issues that's going to be resolved. If Dr. Malik is listening.
Great.
So he is listening. So he would look at putting speed humps in that area to where it'll take care of that issue. So, Mr. Green, thank you again. It's always a pleasure seeing you.
Likewise.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 7th, Commissioner Tenney Slindat.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Green, for coming here. The site that both of the sites that you're talking about, neither one of them are in my district, but part of my district does contain some portions of Sand Hill. And both Mr. Millar, who is trying to develop the student housing, and also the people with the Weed Street School have gone through a lot of interaction with the people at Sand Hills. And I think they both are going to be good projects. The Weed School has sat there and rotted for years. There are properties in that area, yes, that are overgrown and things like that. And yeah, there's some drug activity over there. But in my mind, it would be better to go in and revitalize the area, and maybe the drugs will move on, than to sit there and try to get rid of it with a crumbling school there. I think both projects are going to be good. As far as being two-story, that's up to Mr. Millar in planning and everything. But there are a few two-story apartment complex in your area. Near the community center, I think there's one that's got 2 stories in it. And
The community center? Yeah, I'm part of it.
near the community center, there's already a two-story apartment complex.
Right.
I'm
Sit back there,
saying,
that's right.
I get your concerns, I really do, but I just think both of these developers have really gone the extra mile to try to meet with that nice community over there. And I think both of them are going to be good projects to help revitalize over there. But thanks for coming. I always like to hear from you, so.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Clinton, and thank you for your input. I don't disagree with you. I think this is good. Let's get those buildings squared away. One's 93 years old. Let's get them squared away. But no, Ms. Lindak, all due respect, drugs just don't go away. And Mr. Mayor, if I would say, during the storm, when all the lights were out and everybody was directed to stay home, there was more traffic at night than ever before. I said, my God, where are people going? It's 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, cars going, zoom, people walking by. And you know, you go where you go. You're not caught. Richmond County probably was way too tight. But where are they going, folks? But when those lights came on you all, guess what? And that opened my eyes. So all due respect to you, Ms. Lindak, all due. No, drugs just don't go away. Let's not make the mistake of just, because I agree. Let's fix those buildings. Let's put something up for students. But before that, let's do the engineering stuff, the drainage stuff, the cleaning it up around there to get it prepped, to bring them in there. That's all I'm saying. I'm for the project, and the ladies here know that. That's what makes this beautiful, because we can disagree. You haven't been the time you see a group like that. So they were like, no building at all, right? But they're nice enough to come up here, and I thought that you all get a kick out of that, the fact that we're not just all lockstep, don't do it, because I'm very pro-development, and I think you all know that, getting our community to a better status, totally.
Thank you, sir. Chair recognizes Commissioner Francine Scott from the 9th.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Mr. Green, thank you for coming today. I just want to say that I have been to almost all the meetings that the Sand Hill Community Association have had. And it's not a lack of not knowing what's coming in your community, unlike some places. Some places, you'll see a building coming up and you got 500 residents and you was not informed. So I would just like to say kudos to Ms. Veronica and the Sand Hill Association and both projects. Mr. Green, if you're not if you don't know, there's a master plan for Sand Hills, and I would make sure you get a copy, because it's almost dead sync in what they're talking about for the development in that area. With that, I'll close, because I know we have other business we need to get. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Scott. Mr. Green, thank you so much for being here. Ladies, thank y'all for being here. We're going to hopefully address that item coming up here very shortly, okay?
Appreciate your time.
You got it.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, I think that takes us to the consent portion of our agenda. As I understand we have some addendum items. Could you please read those in for the record, and we can see if our colleagues can accept these.
Okay. Our addendum agenda for today. Item number 1, an emergency procurement to purchase 2 HP light new diesel engines with low hours in the amount of $500,000, requested by Augusta Utilities Department. Item 2 is to ratify and approve Utilities Director for funding applications. Item 3, DCA 1 Georgia grant for the Woodlake Sewer and Water Project, acceptance by February 22nd, requested by Utilities Department. Item number 4 is a motion to approve funding in the amount of $6,000 funded from the general fund contingency to cover audiovisual equipment rental costs in association with the upcoming Charter Review Committee's public hearings, requested by Commissioner Francine Scott. Item number 5 is to discuss and approve vegetation and landscape department or division within an existing department based on administration recommendations on how to implement. No recommendations from our engineering committee on the 27th and commission on February 3rd, 2026. Item number 6 is to accept fiscal year 2026 grant award, OCHS technology funding in the amount of $30,000 for the Richmond County Sheriff's Department Office.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Colleagues, those have been read into the record. Is there any objection to adding these to today's agenda? Madam Clerk, hearing and seeing none, the 6 items are added to today's agenda. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, we've just been informed that item number 2 is requested to be deleted.
Item number 2 has been requested for deleted.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right. The
Addendum or?
On the addendum agenda.
It's on the addendum. Okay. The other 5 items are added to today's agenda. Let's go through the consent agenda for the purposes of the planning.
Okay. All right. Our consent agenda consists of items 1 through 30. Items 1 through 30. For the benefit of any objectors to our planning petitions, would you please signify your objections by raising your hand once the petition is read? Item number 1 is requesting a special exception to establish a family personal care home on property located at 3403 Kensington Drive South.
3403 Kensington Drive South. Any objections? Madam Clerk, seeing or hearing none, let's continue.
Okay. Item number 2 is a request for a special exception to establish a telecommunication tower at property located at 4436 Deansbridge Road. Are there any objectors?
Any objectors to Deansbridge Road Communications Tower? Seeing or hearing none, let's continue.
Item number 3 is a request for rezoning from a zone R1B, 1 family residential, and a R1C, 1 family residential, to a zone R3B, multiple family residential, to develop student housing on property located at 616, 708, and 710 Weed Street, and 2450 Wheeler Road. Are there any objectors?
Any objections to Weed Street or Wheeler Road properties? Hearing or seeing none, let's continue, Madam Clerk.
Our final plat approval for Mystical Rose Garden located at 2368 Tobacco Road.
Tobacco
Any
Road.
objectors?
Any objectors? Hearing or seeing none, Madam Clerk, let's move on.
Okay. For the benefit of any objectors to our alcohol petitions, I call your attention to item number 5. It's a request for consumption on premise liquor, beer, and wine license with Sunday sales for 4023 Jim Dent Way. Are there any objectors?
4023 Jim Dent Way, any objectors? Seeing or hearing
Affinity
none.
Golf Partners, LLC.
Jim Dent Way. Seeing or hearing none, let's continue.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, our consent agenda consists of items 1 through 13 with no objectors regarding our planning and public service alcohol petition.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Chair recognizes Commissioner Brandon Garrett from the 8th. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to add the following items from the addendum agenda. Items number 1, 4, and 6, please.
Can we put that up on the screen so the citizens can see?
Madam Clerk, there's been a request to put the addendum agenda items on the screen, and the commissioner from the 8th has asked for items number 1, 4, and 6 be added
To the consent agenda.
to the consent agenda. 1, 4, and 6. All right, I don't hear or see any objections to that.
What about 3? Grant.
I'll add 3 as well if there's no objections.
We'll add 2. Mr. Garrett is asked to be deleted. Can we just,
That's fine too.
number 3?
Item number 3.
And a motion to approve as stated.
Second.
All right, there's a motion to approve as stated, and there's a from the commissioner from the 8th. It was seconded by the mayor pro tem. Madam Clerk, we're prepared to vote. While we're voting, we want to thank the Department of Community Affairs and Governor Brian Kemp's administration for the One Georgia grant for Woodlake $2 million. It's going to help alleviate some floodings and address some infrastructure needs.
Thank you, Governor Kemp. Lee?
All right.
That motion carries with Ms. Pulliam absent from today's meeting.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. All right, I think we only have one item on today's agenda, and it's from the addendum. It's item number 5. Ladies and gentlemen,
Item
thank you so
number
much for being
5.
here today.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, before Ms. Bernadette, I just want to give you a shout out from the Augusta Habitat for Humanity. Thank you for the great hat. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you so much. She didn't give you one? No, go ahead. You said? Everybody leaving.
They're done with us.
Huh? They done with us?
They're done with us.
All right. All right. Madam Clerk,
Where we're headed, Mr.
addendum
Mayor?
item number 5, please.
Item number 5, all right. Addendum item number 5, discuss and approve vegetation and landscaping department or division within an existing department based on administration recommendations on how to implement.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 4th, Commissioner Leonard Wimberly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a great idea to have a landscape department in this government. There's a lot of benefit from having such a department as far as meeting our reputation as the garden city. They could do a lot to bring us back to that. However, from what I've been able to glean from the discussion so far about this department, I don't think we could stand it up in the manner in which we have been discussing it. Number one, we have we have no idea what it would cost us to actually run this department for an entire year. We're already at a hiring freeze, so I see us starting off with a deficit of employees to actually man it in the manner for which it should be manned. And I'm not an expert on to say exactly what we're going to need. So that's why I would say, well, let's rely on someone or getting, let's say, an agency to come in and say, this is how you should stand up this department, and this is what it's going to cost. This is the equipment you're going to need. These are the personnel you're going to have in order to man this. But to just say, yeah, let's stand up a department, and the only money that was actually spoken to me in dollars amount was $800,000. That's not going to do it. So if you tell me, well, we got money elsewhere, well, then if you have money elsewhere, why don't you have the potholes that are going into, what is that, Fleming, not Fleming, what's it, the community center down for, doggone, I forget the name of the street. But you were using it as a laydown yard for the storm, and you cannot drive into that complex because of the potholes there. I mean, it's just terrible. But we don't have funds to do that. We have other, I've received calls about trees down behind in easement that we control, but yet and still we don't have funds to go and do that. So now all of a sudden we got money that we can come in and we can set up a department and make it function properly. I don't think we could do that. So, Mr. Matt, that's my opinion. So I would like for somebody to really walk me through the steps for which we will be able to manage this. If we stood this department up, how will we be able to manage it and how will we be able to fund it? Could I get that, please?
You know, Commissioner Wembley, I can answer some of those questions. The departments and the personnel that you talk about already exist, and we're not standing anything up. We're just consolidating 41 people who are responsible for cutting grass and maintain the beautification of our city to one department. It's not so much a stand-up of a department. Two, I don't think that department has anything to do with repairing potholes that you talk about at Fleming Park. I have been in that park too, and
Excuse me, Ms. Matt.
well, I have the floor, sir. I'll get back to you. I have the floor. So here we are, almost in March. Talk about grass cutting season that starts in a little over a month. We're not looking to hire anybody. We're just consolidating the folks that already have that responsibility to one department for true accountability. In my opinion, I think all of those dollars that are associated with grass cutting should be consolidated. You and I know that we receive a lot of calls from constituents every year regarding retention ponds, detention ponds, right-of-ways, just about everything you can imagine, all grass cutting all summer long. And we have to sometimes find out who's responsible for cutting the grass. Have one contact to do that, I think will go a long way in our ability to attract more employees with jobs, to attract more tourists, to show that we care. Our downtown corridor continues to grow in the amount of maintenance that's going to be required. As you know, that beautiful streetscape on Broad, Green, and Telfair is expanding and it's growing, and we have to maintain it. So that beautiful gateway coming into 15th Street, it needs to be maintained. And we owe it, you know, to the people that are coming in from South Florida and from everywhere to maintain it. So that's my request. This is not a stand-up department. This is just consolidating an effort for a department to maintain the beautification of our Augusta. That deserves it outside of 2 weeks out of the year.
Mr. Matt,
Yes, sir.
as I was about to say is that I'm very aware that the pothole is not something that you do by cutting grass. But you still have not told me how we will fund this. You just told me you're gonna move people to a department. You haven't told me how much this department is gonna cost to operate. Where you gonna house them at? You haven't even touched any of that. So if you're not the one that's gonna be able to do that, then just point the person out.
Well, the administrator has certainly been working on that proposal, the administrator's office. But keep in mind, right now there's at least 4 departments that cut grass that maintain a facility for lawn equipment, for meeting space. So in my opinion, I don't think we need to work on building a new building or structure or anything. I think we look at those 4 departments and see which one is more appropriate to consolidate into one. Keep in mind, these are employees that don't need office space, and that is their responsibility to be out maintaining the beautification of our city. They don't need office space and computers, not for 40 people. They need a place to gather every day and to go to work.
Well, Mr. Mayor, then that mean you don't know about operation. You don't just operate out in the opening. You got to have some form of a gathering. You're going to tell me that these folks will never go inside. That's what you just said. That means you don't know the means of operation. So I'm still saying I need to know how you're going to operate them, where you're going to house them at, where your operation going to be. You got to have I'm sure you got to have some administration because you got to order material. You got to have some kind of maintenance program. You got to have some housing. So how you going to do that? That's what I'm asking. So if you just want to blow me off, and then you say you want to take some from other department. So you take recreation folks, and oh, by the way, that facility is on Lumpkin Road. You take some from recreation department. So what is the agreement with this department, this landscape department, to say that you're going to support recreation with their ground maintenance requirement, especially for their sports complex? What's that agreement? Is that agreement now? What is that agreement? I'm asking you to be able to tell me what this department is going to do. We've had consolidation before, and one of the things we did was got rid of the landscape department. Now you want to come back to that. That means you didn't know what you were doing the first time around. So let's do this right this time.
Yeah, let's make that clear. We didn't do it. That was done many years ago.
Mr. Mayor, I'm not talking about you personally.
Okay. Now. And keep in mind,
we did that. I'll put it like that then, to make it the body of this government here.
Yes, sir.
We did that.
We did that, and since then, the beautification and upkeep of our city has deteriorated since.
Sure has.
It has. So whatever we have been doing has not been working. Would you agree with that?
But I start off with what I said in the very beginning. I'm not against a landscape department. I never said I was against it.
So how are we going to cut the grass come April or May?
You tell me how we're going to manage the department when we stand it up. Then they'll tell you how to cut the grass.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you, Commissioner from the 4th. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 5th, Commissioner Don Clark.
I think to the Commissioner from the 4th, again, we've received probably 3-4 presentations from the staff, from the administrator and team about options for us to choose. We had a vote a couple weeks ago, I believe it was, or was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, well, we voted for it. It didn't pass, and the commissioner from the 3rd asked to bring it back up. I think we all know what's at stake here. We're looking for efficiency in trying to make sure that the service output that the constituents are looking for happens in a timely manner and in an efficient manner. If we're going to look at merging one department, I agree with you to a point of where we say what other departments make sense to be merged in another department, but also in the presentation that we received from the administrator, she clearly articulated the funding sources that would come into play for if we chose a separate standalone department. So our current funding there's a number of contract services that provide our landscaping along with, internal support from our staff as well. I mean, I think it's real simple to the point, do we continue with what we're doing right now, which seems to be problematic, or do we embark upon something that, like you said, not necessarily new, but do we try to improve the process of making it efficient? I mean, that's really what we're up against. What do we do to really make this more efficient? I think the public is really kind of perplexed that we're having so many conversations about a fundamental aspect of our government that should be very straightforward and easy. Keeping the city looking clean, appropriate, our parks as well. And how do we do that to where it's an efficient process, to where our folks that are paying their taxes see the return on investment from the services that we have. So it's up here right now for us to determine if we're going to vote for a standalone department. If we're not, then how do we improve it? And I think, again, unless we're going to ask the administrator to crank out her proposal that she has probably committed to memory because she's done it about 4 times, or we make a vote one way or the other. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. But I think it's important that we do get this right. What our city looks like should be all of our calling card on the pride that we take on it being manicured appropriately.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 3rd, Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And yes, we discussed this time and time again. And the clock is ticking. Grass is going to be growing this time next month, less than 2 months. And, as far as I see it, my constituents, what we've been doing is not working. And I get calls all the time about right-of-ways. Who do they need to call for right-of-ways? Or who do they need to call for medians and for, these ponds, plenty of ponds that some are in the neighborhoods. And it's confusing to them. And we have not tried to do, whatever we've got going on right now is not, I'm going to say, we got a lot of work we can do. If we got to keep it like it is, we've got a lot of work ahead of us. And, Administrator Allen has brought before us a couple of options. And if I need to have her come up and speak, if I'm not mistaken, we do have the money in the budget to do a standalone department. Is that correct, Administrator?
So what the proposals do, the second option actually pulls the resources from the other areas that they're currently serving in, the 4 different departments that Commissioner Wimberly was referring to, and it puts those into one department. So the resources will come along with the actual positions that are moved into this one department.
Okay. And as far as it goes with employees, in each one of those 4 departments that we have employees doing this maintenance, we have what, 40?
41, yes,
41.
ma'am.
Wouldn't it be sensible to put those 41 into the standalone department and get them started on doing the work, doing the maintenance? Move those 41 into this standalone department. Would that not be?
What I would say is it would probably provide more accountability because you have one person to go and hold accountable for making sure that all of the respective maintenance is done, as opposed to having 4 different people to go to.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. We have been talking about this, and spring is coming. And I sure this summer do not want to have to tell my constituents to call Central Services or that we need to go through RCCI. We need to go through Parks and Recs. We need to go through engineering. We've got to make a decision. We keep kicking the can down the street on this. And if it were up to me, I'd say I'd like to approve the second option from the Administrator Allen, to consolidate the vegetation and maintenance into one department.
A motion?
That would be my motion, yes.
All right. The commissioner from the 3rd has put in the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second from Commissioner Tina Slindak. There's a few other colleagues in the queue. Chair recognizes Commissioner Brandon Garrett.
Are you still in the queue?
I'll
I think she was still in the queue.
No, you have the floor, sir.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Madam Administrator, this question is for you. It's actually 2 questions. If this is approved today to stand up a new department, what is the time frame that you are looking at to get this up and running, to consolidate the resources, consolidate the workforce, hire a director? What's your...
In regards to hiring a director, Commissioner Garrett, it'd probably be, I would say, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, because we'd have to put the actual position out. So you have to do your due diligence on that end.
We can't even interview somebody and hire them in 2 to 4 weeks.
Well, to bring you recommendations would probably take that amount of time. And then we would actually have to, you bring those people together and start having meetings with those respective positions.
Who will be running those meetings?
Well, we'll have to have somebody on board to actually run the meetings, of course. We could start it off on our end as far as administration, but we will still have to have a director in place.
All right, so during this transition time over this next, let's be realistic,
2 months.
3 to 6 months. I mean, because we're going to be right in the middle of grass cutting season, trying to get this department stood up.
Yes.
So, what I'm not wanting to happen here is that you're going to have these 41 folks that are potentially transitioning to a new department, as well as our contractors not to have a point of contact. So is the administrator's office going to be able to help make sure that all of those duties that are already being done by those respective employees and the contractors will continue to get done?
We would have to. Or we would have to identify someone and make them in an interim position. But we would have to have somebody to oversee it.
Okay. And if you're going to have somebody overseeing it, do we have somewhere to house all of this equipment? I see in your proposal that office and warehouse space upfit, capital budget, we have some money there for $400,000.
Yes.
We
We would have to locate a place for them. We would. It actually, Commissioner Garrett, it comes to, again, the two options. You guys can leave it as it is and continue, or you could do the second. But I will say the second option, it provides you ultimately the accountability that's necessary, but it also offers a few challenges as well.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be a huge challenge. I mean,
bring it together.
I mean, you're establishing a totally new department. And I guess my question is, this government has a lot of property. We have a lot of buildings.
Yes.
Do we truly not have a warehouse somewhere that we can house this stuff?
We don't have a single warehouse that all of their equipment could come, but we do have, one location could be possibly the fire station over by May Park. That's one facility that's still there. You probably have the...
And that one's still full of recreation shirts and stuff? Last time I saw it, it was filled up with old T-shirts and stuff.
I'm not sure about that.
It was being used for storage from previous directors from Parks and Rec, but...
I don't know about that one. But we would actually have, you have to have a warehouse and stuff installed there as well, because you have to have some warehouse space.
Well, and just logistically, I mean, that's not very central to the county. That's very much downtown oriented, so I'm not sure if that would be the most efficient place for that either. So I'm just, these are just questions that I have as we've been discussing this, and I know that you really need a direction. That way you can start putting all these pieces in, and but these are just things that are on top of my mind, and I think others as well. But I think that we really need to be realistic, and I really don't want to see this season of transition to really let things get away from us in regards to how our city looks either. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Garrett. Chair recognizes Commissioner from 9th, Commissioner Francine Scott.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. I have the similar concern that Commissioner Garrett just mentioned, so he was reading my mind. But, Mr. Mayor, may I ask the administrator a question, please?
Yes, ma'am, continue.
Administrator Allen.
Yes, ma'am.
I know we need to do something for grass cutting, but do we need to rush? Even though I know you've been coming back, and I think, all of your presentations, so thank you for that. But if we are going to start cutting grass in in a month or so, do you think you can have everything in place to start saying this person going to do 1336 Wrightsboro Road, my address, or the Bethlehem Center somewhere? Do you think we're going to be able to do this? Should we pump our brakes just a little and say for 4 to 6 months, we come up with a plan that everybody can agree with, meaning that we'll have all the employees already know by next 6 months where your office is going to be, who you're going to be reporting to. Because I think the first thing we have to do before we say that we got a standalone vegetation and ground maintenance department, we got to first hire a director. And for 4 to 6 weeks, we are not going to even have a director in place. We probably won't even, well, I guess you would probably already have your interviews done. But then you got to have, the person going to have to come in and know exactly what he's going to do, know who's going to be in his department, and probably have a deputy, to say the least. And then $800,000, is that going to be enough money to do what we want to do and with the move plus having a place for equipment? And do the employees in this department, do they have all the equipment that they're gonna need? Also, do we have contracts? I know we have a contract with the library service because I'm the ex-official, so I know they have a contractor that cut their grass. What about the other contract that maybe engineering or utilities may have? What are they gonna do? Are you saying we're gonna take all the money for cutting grass and put it in this department, and our employees that we're gonna put in this department, do they have the skill set to cut the grass, the range that we're gonna have them to do? Because it's not just flat grass.
Okay, so Commissioner Scott, what we're doing is actually moving the people that are doing the job already. So we're not asking anybody to do any job differently. These are the people, the resources, the positions that are already aligned to do this job. Will it be easy? Of course, I will not sit here and tell y'all it will be easy to transition and develop a department standalone and get people out there doing what's necessary. But it really is a governing body's decision as to whether or not you guys want to give us the okay, because we have not done anything based on the fact that we have not, one way or the other, been given a direction from this governing body as it relates to whether it's option 1 or option 2. If you want to stick with option 1, we will continue with how we're doing it, but with those additional resources that were provided in the presentation. If we want to stick with option 2, we would do whatever we could to stand it up and get it going as best as possible that we can reasonably do.
And I understand that, but that's if Mayor Johnson and colleague, can we get this up and running in 4 to 8 weeks when grass cutting season starts?
I believe we can in that. I don't understand what there's not to understand that because we haven't stood up the department doesn't mean grass can't be cut. But I believe we can.
We'll be in the same predicament. We don't. The staff won't know who's cutting what or when this is going to be cut. I'm not trying to kick the can down the road, but I'm saying that we need to make sure that this is a success for Ms. Allen, for this body, and constituents won't be calling, saying that they don't know who they need to call to get the grass cut. And at this point, I cannot go along with either one of them.
Thank you, Madam. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 1st, Commissioner Jordan Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to know a couple things. Number one, I want to say for starters that what I'm hearing is that there's pretty much consensus to create this department. I think that we all know that there's a need for it. I think even a few years ago, that was an option that most of us supported and was trying to push forward, was to create some type of department, public works, I think is what it was being called at the time. But I think it was a good idea, and I still do think it's a good idea. Biggest concern is just the risk that could be associated with it trying to push forward for this fiscal year. And I want to really weigh in, or really want to get an understanding of what do we perceive the biggest risk being going into this right now. From the department perspective, Commissioner Garrett asked a very valid question, and he wasn't here when we had that conversation, but those were the same questions that I asked. I mean, almost verbatim was, what does that do to the department in the meantime? The Parks and Rec department, the engineering department, what does that do to them in the meantime? So we know the issue we're trying to address, but my question is, what is the issue that we're going to create in trying to address an issue? And quite honestly, we might need more time to try to figure this thing out. And my thing is, ultimately, this could be a part of the 27 budget cycle when we start moving money around again. We were just told last week or week before last or something that this was going to be a tough budget year for us again. I think the words was that we were going to be in the middle of a budget crisis again. So creating a new department with so many risks outlined, just laying out there, you know, and then facing what we've been told is going to be a budget crisis for this year, I'm not sure that we are thinking long range here. So I guess my question is, what is the risk associated with this, trying to implement this automatic, like immediately? We know realistically it's just not going to happen. We're going to be in the middle of grass cutting season without the department being stood up. That's just the reality of it. And so what is that going to mean for the Parks and Rec department? And what is it going to mean for the engineering department to get this work done? If we consolidate everything now, what is that operation going to look like going forward? Even if we vote on it today, I mean, it's not going to be implemented for another couple months, but what does that risk look like from the department level if we were to vote to move this forward? And I would like to hear from the administrator and the departments that's going to be dealing with this. So anyone who wants to go first, I just want to know, what is that going to look like? What do we anticipate that looking like for the department pending, will post an approval?
I guess I'll take a first shot at it, Commissioner Johnson. So what we've done is we've had meetings with those respective departments, and what the resources that we're taking from those departments or that will be allocated to this new department, if approved by the governing body, would be for those people to continue to do what they're currently doing. They just won't be in the department that they're currently in. So I'm not necessarily sure of the potential risk. The risk is that maybe everything won't be established in the time frame for the grass that's coming up. But I do think it gives you the flip side of that. It gives you the amount of accountability that's necessary if you're looking at some form of efficiency. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
Again, I will say that, will it be perfect going in? I'd say probably not, because there's going to be some hiccups, things that you have to do to get it going and get it established. So again, I don't want to sit here and give that impression to the governing body. But I will say it will provide that one position of accountability, and that's something that we have been not having when we've had these discussions.
What has been the main issue with the accountability piece going forward? So let's use Parks and Recreation, for example. How many staff members in the Park and Recreation Department are set aside for grass cutting right now?
I'd have to defer to our Recreation Department.
18. So with the 18 folks there, are we saying that the parks aren't being cut? What is the biggest issue when it comes down to the accountability piece? If there's a retention pond that needs to be cut, and we call Dr. Malik, is the enforcement because Dr. Malik isn't doing his job? Is it because of scheduling needs? Is it because of crews? What is the actual enforcement? Is the enforcement the director is not carrying out the directive, or is the hang up some type of kink in the efficiency of the actual operation? What do we see that issue being right now?
You know what? That's a good question. I would say it's probably all of the above. There's been a number of things that, as you stated, this has been an ongoing conversation. It didn't just start this past year with this administration. It's been a conversation because you have your citizens that are not happy with the services that they're being provided. So whether it's the actual funding or the contract management, the departments themselves being accountable and the directors being held accountable, I would say it's probably all of them.
So I guess what I'm trying to understand is, with that being said, how does this differ? How does this change anything? If I have a right-of-way that needs to be cut and I call Dr. Malik and it doesn't get done, how is it that I would be able to call another director that we just created and we think that it's going to get done there? I'm trying to wrap my head around the accountability piece that we keep pointing at. Is it accountability or is it efficiency gaps in the operation itself? If we hire a new director today and I need a right-of-way to be cut and that director doesn't do it, what accountability does that director have that Dr. Malik doesn't have?
That's a good question.
Or what would the accountability be that this new director have that Tamika Williams doesn't have? I want to make sure that in this conversation that we're addressing the actual issue and not and this is not to you or anyone else, it's just not this rhetoric that is not happening because of accountability. Accountability is our responsibility and it's administration's responsibility. If a director is not doing their job, then that's when we have a meeting in the legal session. I think ultimately the issue is the efficiency of what we're doing. It's the amount of crews that we put on the street. It's the amount of contracts that we have or don't have. It's the amount of money that we're paying these contractors to do half-ass jobs, excuse my language. But ultimately, I view this more so being an efficiency issue that this commission should refocus its concern on to address the efficiency of the issue versus saying we're going to put everything under one person because we can call one person and we can hold one person accountable. If I need to get May Park cut, I'm not calling Dr. Malik or I'm not calling nobody else. I'm calling Tamika Williams. The accountability piece is there. The efficiency is not. That's my concern. And I'm not sure that creating the whole department right now without that piece being added into the equation is going to get us where we're trying to go. I think ultimately it's going to create us an unintended consequence that we're going to have to discuss during the budget cycle, and it's going to hurt us. We've seen this type of motion and type of activity in some of the activities that we have done in the past, and in the very not so distant past. So I would just caution the commission to really, in having this conversation, which is a good one, to really refocus our conversation on how to make what we have efficient, because we can't afford anything else. We can move money, rob Peter, pay Paul, but we don't have the money for that. We're in a budget crisis. How do we address the efficiency of what we already have? And I think we don't get there by saying we're going to snatch things away and put it somewhere else. We pull the departments that's responsible and say, this is the standard that the commission has. You're responsible for getting that job done. If you don't get that job done, then you're going to be illegal. And I think once we move to a city manager, if that's the direction we go, you have greater enforcement ability. But right now, I just fear that this move, while it's good in essence, presents a lot of issues that we have not really thought through fully. But I appreciate you for your effort. And I know it's not easy dealing with us sometimes, but I needed to just make sure that I cleared that just for my own conscience. Thank you, Ms. Allen.
Point of clarity, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Voting on what was just proposed or what was motioned by the commissioner from the 3rd, does that mean that this is moving forward tomorrow?
Yeah, it means it's moving forward. It's moving forward. We're putting it in the hands of the administrator to work on consolidating these departments to cut the grass.
So that means the administrator and the department heads will be collecting all the information needed with the recommendation of if we're ready to do it now, or if it'll be better to start in 2027 as well?
I think the effort is to collect and start cutting some grass. We've been talking about this for almost a year. We're talking about probably longer. Trash still hasn't been picked up on the side of the road. Grass is not being cut. We still have leaves since the fall. So.
All right, thank you.
All right, Commissioner from the 3rd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hear my colleagues, and I hear our questions being asked to Administrator Allen. We have Administrator Allen who is doing her job, and I appreciate it, and I know you all up here do too, but she has brought before us, back during budget, maybe before budget, some options, and here we are today, again, talking and asking some of the same questions that I can remember we've discussed a couple of months ago. For the sake of the citizens and hearing that, oh, we're not the Garden City because things don't look right. Here's our chance to take a step forward and do something different. We have to, there are challenges, yes, there's going to be challenges. There's challenges with everything in this government, and it is going to be a challenge. But if we don't take a step and do something and we continue to do what we've been doing, it's not working. It's obvious. It does not look good out there. It is not working. And I agree with the mayor. Grass needs to be cut. The clock is ticking. And so I have put a motion on the floor to do as our administrator has said and approved the second option to consolidate the vegetation and maintenance into one department. I have faith that we can do this, and I have faith in our administrator. So I've got it out there. I'm keeping it on the floor.
People in the queue.
Thank you, Commissioner Rice. Mayor Pro Tem Wayne Guilfoyle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was here at a time with Ms. Bonner at the time where we actually opened up a department called Central Service. We took that from Parks and Rec and I believe it's going in the right direction now, no doubt. There was some challenges over these past years. It depends on who you put in charge of this department. The concern is I hear it loud and clear from my colleagues from my right to my left. And Madam Administrator, can I hit you up with some questions, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, Madam Administrator, we know that the grass cutting is done from 4 to 5 different departments. Our biggest challenge behind the dais, no different than Commissioner Johnson said from the first, there's so many different people that you got to call to have certain things done as far as grass cutting, and it shouldn't be that way. We all know that. I believe we do need a singular department, no different than we have all these other departments in Augusta, Richmond County. But my challenge is grass cutting's coming up to play. Why don't we leave the respective employees in the departments they are until we get the game plan down to where and when it's time to execute, it could be done easily and efficiently. Would you agree and disagree? Because if you go ahead and take everybody now, one, you got to find a house for them. We got to find a director, assistant director. But at least we got a plan going forward because it was the commission is actually giving you the direction to go. But we're going to have to make sure before we just start pulling employees from all these other departments, let's make sure we have the a home where everybody could go to, have the housing for all the tools, equipment, trucks. But right now, we're going to get by the same old practice of you got to call 4 to 5 different people, which is it's not efficient whatsoever.
So can I offer this up for the governing body is if the governing body does approve for us to go ahead and proceed with one vegetation and maintenance department, that you allow us to go ahead and transition into that department? Is that something that, based on what I'm hearing from the governing body, the various commissioners have stated, you know, we come back with that plan, but we go ahead and know that it's the direction we're going in. So that addresses everybody's concern. We do have one single department. We start forming that respective department, and we bring back that plan, because you're right, it is getting ready to be that time.
Right,
And,
that's concern.
but
Ms.
if we
Scott,
go ahead and start pushing for that now and say it's going to be the department, go ahead and establish the department, go ahead and hire somebody in, go ahead and start this process, at least we'll go ahead and have that department. Is that?
you could work out all the bugs through this
Is that
trial.
acceptable to every?
Thank you for your understanding, Madam Administrator.
All right. Clarification, please. Commissioner Mayor Pro Tem Guilfoyle, will you please clarify your statement and your ask with the governing body?
Yes, before we start pulling all these employees from all these 4 to 5 different departments, we leave it as is until the administrator's able to get her business plan, I would call it a business plan, but get all her goals achieved as far as having somebody in position, having the house and for this standalone department. And before we execute, saying, all right, we're pulling people from rec, pulling people from engineering, pulling people from et cetera, these other different departments, we'll have everything in place so when the administrator does execute it, we could just roll in and it'll become efficient at that moment.
So we'll still have the vegetation and maintenance department. Is that what y'all approve? And
Yes.
then we bring the transition plan.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Brandon Garrett from the 8th.
Thank you. Is that really what we're going to call this department? Vegetation and maintenance?
No. I hope not.
4 years from now, you're going to have a totally different commission up here, and they're going to be like, what maintenance are we doing? Does that mean, so,
I hope not.
I mean, I'm being serious here. I think that just like with central services, I had no idea what central service was. I mean, to me, that's the maintenance department, but, or building maintenance. I think this should be like
Yes.
grounds and
We'll name.
landscaping or something like that. But anyway, that's really not my question, because hopefully we'll be a little more precise with the naming of this department. once we get past that. But I do have a couple questions. So during this time period, Ms. Allen, like you were suggesting, coming back with the firm plan, once we get the director hired, all these things, I know, but that part of the action items for this year is to go out for bid for the downtown maintenance that ACE is currently doing.
Yes, sir.
When does that process start?
That will start in the next couple of months. I've already spoken to Ms. Dallas in regards to that, but right now they are still currently doing what they're doing on a month-to-month basis.
Okay.
Not stopped.
And then with the other parts of this, one of the things I really don't want to see happen that happens so very often with any of the projects that we approve up here, they tend to escalate. I can look at a recent community center that cost greatly escalated over that project. I just don't want to see like the warehousing and the office space, being super extravagant for.
I got you. Yes, sir.
I'm just saying this is supposed to be, boots on the ground type department, but even with that, I think that so often we lose track of what is truly supposed to take place here. And I like the fact that you're willing to leave the employees where they are because, there are regulatory cuts that Dr. Malika is responsible for each year in regards to his right-of-way maintenance as well as some of the other things. So, even during this transition, we're going to have to think through who is going to be ultimately responsible for making sure those regulatory cuts are made and reported. So during this time period, I'm assuming that it'll stay in the respective departments. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I'll bring you the transition plan. I think Commissioner Johnson stated that.
Yes, ma'am.
So I would bring the transition plan, but we will incorporate we haven't had the discussion with Dr. Malik and all of the other respective department heads as it relates to their responsibility. So we have spoken to each of them. But I will make sure that you understand the respective transition plan, but we'll go ahead and get started if the governing body approves for us to go ahead and proceed with the forming of this department.
All right. Well, with that said, I'd like to call for the vote.
I have some questions.
Okay.
All right, there's been a call for the vote, but,
I'm still in the queue, Mr.
all right, we're going, Commissioner Wembley, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right. So we're at a good point now. We're at a good place right now because we're talking about coming up with a plan. So having said that, which department will be affected by the consolidation into this, what do you want to call it? I'm going to call it landscape department. Which department will be affected?
It would include the engineering department, recreation and parks, central service and RCCI, because we have the resources. RCCI is in either one of the options. Both of them RCCI plays a role in each option.
That's the inmates, right?
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
You only hit two departments.
Central services.
Right? Central services, okay. Engineer, recreation.
Yes.
Okay. What about utility? They cut grass.
No, sir. The utilities is more specialized. Theirs are included in the enterprise fund, so that's a little different. And they have the requirements just as you were stating. I think Commissioner Garrett was stating about the regulatory items that engineering has. Utilities has some as well, but they're not the ones that we get the screams from. Those are not the ones that the constituents call you about.
I got some calls on utilities. Anyway, getting back to see, I wasn't here when y'all started this. Remember, I got here in November.
Yes, sir.
So all that talk y'all did before that, I wasn't part of it, and I guess that's when it happened.
Yes.
But I'm just trying to wrap my head around
yes, sir.
what you're trying to do.
Yes.
So forgive me if it seemed like I'm holding up this vote. So you're going to come back with a plan. So if we vote today to say stand this up, we're only voting you to stand it up. We're not telling you to implement. We're telling you to, am I understanding this right? We'll be telling you to come up with what it would take and then what is the execution date. Is you understanding that?
I see what you're saying. I'll be bringing back to you how we're going to be starting the transition. The goal will be to transition as quickly as possible. So, but we will be bringing back exactly what it's going to entail to do that.
What do the goal of transition as quickly as possible means?
So if you say the governing body says they want to proceed, we'll be trying to figure it out and bring that back within the next 30 days. That's to me coming back to you.
You will be setting the implementing date.
Yes, because we have already gathered all the respective information. We've gathered all the contracts. We're putting all that together now. So then we'll be able to bring that information back to the governing
Will
body.
this department have any agreement with any other department as in provided service? Or are you just saying that, what do we want to call them? I'm going to call them landscape. You're telling me that landscape would just go into recreation area and then cut that grass, go into engineering area of responsibility and just cut that grass, and that's their responsibility. How did that work? What's the SOP? What's the agreement? Is that going to be in the agreement? Or the department just...
So I would envision, Commissioner Wembley, that we would have everything in place before we just start sending people out. They're going to come in already saying what they're currently responsible for. So whoever's in leadership role will automatically take all that in consideration in plan how they're to go out and meet the needs of the citizens. Not necessarily our internal needs as much as making sure we're meeting the citizens' needs.
So when would this body know what those plans are?
Oh, as soon as we finish developing them, sir, I'll definitely make sure they're brought back to the governing body before we implement anything.
Okay.
Commissioner from the 4th, you good? Don't look at me like that.
I'm not good. I'm going to get off.
I'm going to get off. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 1st, Commissioner George Johnson.
I'm going to look straight ahead, Mr. Mayor. I ain't going to look at you. I'll have a question for you. So I'll look at Commissioner Guilfoyle. Commissioner Guilfoyle, Mayor Pro Tem, I just want to make sure I understand what is the recommendation you're making. It sounded like you were making maybe a substitute to Commissioner Rice's motion, so I wanted to make sure I'm clear on it. Where you said that you wanted to leave the operation as it is right now and then receive a plan from the administrator on how to move forward. And when she brings the plan back, we create the department? Or are you saying to leave it as it is right now, give her the ability to start creating the department, but then also receive the plan? What are we asking? I just want to make sure I'm clear.
When we implemented central service, it wasn't 1/4 of the conversation that we was having today.
It would have been if I was there.
Because what we did, we believed in the administrator doing the job correctly. But what it is actually moving forward. This body's going to vote to move it forward to have a standalone department. But before anything's implemented, that the employees remain in the designated departments until the plan can be executed. And that's what the administrator's going to bring back, saying, I am ready. I found a house. I found a warehouse to keep all the materials, tools, as well as the staffing.
Okay, so
because if we do it right now,
yeah,
we might as well turn out these lights and try to figure out who's who in this room.
Yes, sir. That's what I was
lost. But we asking her questions. It's like anything else. I mean, you've been in this position. You can't start a operation or business without having a plan, and that's where the administrators come in and play and make sure that we have the right people in the right place and finding a director as well as assistant to oversee this department. So,
okay. I got you.
I believe in what the administrator's going to do would be done right.
Yes, sir.
And we got the good staff directors to work with her.
So is your suggestion on approval contingent upon the plan a substitute motion, or is it an amendment that Commissioner Rice will have to take? And I guess that may be a parliamentary question, parliamentary inquiry.
It could be done either as a substitute motion, or he could ask the maker of the motion to amend.
Okay.
Either way, I think it's fine.
Thank you.
Well, the maker of the motion amend, did you capture on that, Ms. Bonner?
No. Commissioner from the 3rd, are you good with the amendment that has been requested by the Mayor Pro Tem?
As long as we do option 2 and get going on it.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
As long as we go ahead and do standalone, yeah, I'm good.
All right. All right. Thank you, Commissioner from the 3rd. You have the floor. I see you in the queue.
No, I was just ready to go ahead and vote.
Commissioner Francine Scott, last one in the queue before we vote.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor Johnson. May I ask the administrator one question about how would this impact Augusta tomorrow and their grant that we have, especially if we're saying that we're going to do the stand-up. I'm almost there, but I just don't understand. How are we moving them out immediately and you have someone that's going to clean up downtown?
No, ma'am, it doesn't affect them at this point, no, ma'am.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, I think we finally at that point. We've been talking about cutting the grass, seemed like a week. Or an hour, let's vote. Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice with the amended motion, seconded by the Commissioner Tina Slindak. We're voting.
Francine, I thought we was going to beat you on your, how quick we could get this.
We're voting, Madam Clerk.
Who's asking for a point of clarity?
Commissioner from the 4th.
It's the standalone department with giving the administrator. Yes, sir. Yes. Standalone department, giving the administrator the opportunity, keeping everybody in their departments till they have a plan to stand up a single department.
And, and nothing to be, implemented until the administrator bring the plan back for commission
That's in the motion.
consideration.
Okay, then. Thank you.
You thinking? That motion carries with Ms. Pulliam out.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, colleagues. Attorney Plunkett, I think we have some additional business to take care of today. You have the floor and the mic, sir.
Mr. Mayor, we would ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel, pending and threatened litigation, and real estate matters.
I heard a motion by Commissioner from the 1st, seconded by Commissioner from the 4th. Madam Clerk, we're voting.
Mr. Clark's out. Ms. Pulliam's out. Mr. Wembley and Mr. Garrett. Mr. Garrett.
Commissioner Garrett, we need
Commissioner
to vote.
Garrett, go in executive session. That motion carries with Ms. Pulliam and Mr. Clark out.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're now suspended to executive session.
Yes, sir.
All right. Madam Clerk, I call this meeting back to order from executive session. Attorney Plunkett.
Mr. Mayor, we request a motion to authorize you to execute the closed meeting affidavit.
Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Don Clark, and I heard second by Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice. Seeing no colleagues in the queue for discussion, Madam Clerk, we're voting.
Yeah. It's unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Attorney Plunkett, are there any motions as a result of our executive session?
There is one, Mr. Mayor. We would request a motion to correct the effective date of Bushfield Finance Director Reza Bingham's retirement date from February 28th, 2026 to March 31st, 2026, with all other terms and conditions of her retirement remaining in effect.
So moved.
Thank you, Attorney Plunkett. There's a motion by a Commissioner from the 3rd, Catherine Smith Rice, seconded by Commissioner from the 8th, Commissioner Brandon Garrett. Madam Clerk, we're voting.
Rico Suave.
That's a mouthful, Lord.
You look good in that hat. Rico Suave.
Now, let's see. Mr. Wembley? Mr. Wembley?
I did.
Okay.
Hey, it's me, yes.
Get on this, Bob.
That motion carries with Mr. Lewis mistakenly voting no. And Ms. Pulliam out.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Attorney Plunkett, are there any additional motions?
There are none, sir.
There are no additional motions. Madam Clerk, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Have a great afternoon.